Yesterday I was wondering how was it that I managed to scratch the top of that life raft. And when I was previewing my video while it was uploading, I discovered how I did that. And I think that if you watch very closely at my tweezers, you're going to see how it happened. Let's just see if we can get this in first. You know, I did not do a dry run. That wasn't very smart. That was not smart. My CA is going to set. And then for sure I won't get it in. Now, in order that I do not have a repeat of the day before yesterday's video, remember when I was trying to give a haircut? Yeah, I better do some serious editing here and get a lot of this dead video out. Well, I'm going to do something I haven't done before. Now, if you're wondering what it is that I've never done before, well, I'm trying to get the extra thin to stick on a place that's already got CA glue on it. Okay, let's dissolve that little square piece on the end there. Oh, I dropped it. Oh my, I got the CA glue stuck on the side. You know what? I'm going to have to let this dry off and redo it. I don't know if you can see it there, but I got CA glue on the sides as well as the... Well, let's see what happens here. Maybe if I use these tweezers here. No, see that? It's stuck on the side. I'm just going to have to let that dry and start all over again. I'm going to have to repaint that. Okay, I did get it. Now, as long as we've got the macro lens on, you can see the metal part of the tweezer comes down almost to the tip of the rubber. And when I was poking with the rubber, well, I was also poking with the metal, and the metal was chipping off the paint. Now this time we're going to do a dry run here. Make sure this part fits. This is the last part. Oh yeah, easily. This is the last part now for that part of step 46. I already put on all the other parts that we did the same as yesterday. Okay, now I think I'll just try the CA thing this time here. Now I just want it to be just on the... It's not going to take very much. See, my goal is to try and keep the adhesive or the... I cannot talk and work at the same time. I would think that'd be good. And make sure it's down on the deck. Doesn't seem to be wanting to stick. Well, we'll just leave that for a few minutes and see what happens. Okay, let's try not to get it on too thick here. I think that maybe I better go across the entire top now, because otherwise there's going to be sort of a obvious division of where it was, where I stopped, if you know what I mean. Okay, let's just leave that and see what happens. In the meantime, that little piece we glued on should be cured by now. Okay, let's touch it and see if it's going to fall off. No. Offhand, I'd say it's glued on. Several hours has passed now since I painted this, and I was just thinking maybe we should just take a nice close look at it. And by the way, yes, I forgot to clean out my little brush. You know what? Do you remember a few episodes ago we were trying out that Windex and we concluded that it works really well in a case like this? Let's try it again for real. We'll take a close look at this in just a minute, but I think first of all we should get our brush soaking here. And I used this test tube before, and the Windex didn't seem to have any effect on the plastic, so I guess it's a medium quality plastic. Oh, didn't want to pour too good here. Maybe I need a little funnel for this. That'll be enough. I don't think it's going to hurt my cloth. After all, you use a cloth when you clean windows, right? Okay, we'll just put that in there now and we'll just let it soak. Now there's a couple of things you're going to notice here, and first of all, yes, when you're looking nice and close like this, the deck tan, could be repainted. But I think I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to try and repaint this because I think the smudging around the area behind here is going to be more obvious than what we've got right now. And at normal viewing distance, once again, you don't see it. But the back, up the back here, that we did see, and this is much improved. In fact, it's almost back to normal. Second thing you notice is that quite often I'll have something in the background. Like in this case, to me, a paint bottle. Well, the reason for that is simply so that you can get a relationship of size. About 45 minutes has passed here now. Okay. I don't know if you can see this from that far back, but I'll zoom in and you're going to see here that all I've got is sludge in the bottom of that. Yeah. I'll put the macro lens back on. I had it all set up here to show you. You'll notice it's all cloudy in the bottom. I can't show you the sludge anymore unless I wait for this to settle, and I mean, it's really not that important. But what happened was I reached over to adjust my spotlight to, got to remember I had the macro lens on, so I wanted all the extra light I could get. So I accidentally knocked this over. And, nothing spilled. But Murphy's Law. Well, I'll zoom in and I'll show you what happened. When it fell over, it broke the barrel off one of my guns here. Yeah, I'm going to have to try and get that glued back on there. I don't think I'm going to make a big episode out of it or anything like that. I think I'm just going to stick it back on. I remember having to do something like this once before. Seems to me I extruded a new part and, glued it back on. Anyway, after knocking my test tube over for a second time, I've sort of given up trying to show you any sludge because all it looked like was just milk in the bottom here. However, what I'm going to do is, by the way, I just wiped off the brush with a paper towel, just wiped the Windex out of it. And I just want to take a close look here before I actually rinse it in isopropyl. See, is there any hint of residue from the, hardened paint? That Windex works really well. To those viewers who suggested Windex, thank you. I'm surprised at how well it works. Now, before I do the isopropyl thing, maybe now is a good time to try out the super macro. And I'll set up in such a way that I should be able to see it really good. and focus in and out on it, because that's the way the super macro works. You don't turn it like this to focus it. You move the camera in and out, or you move the subject back and forth. I think I've mentioned that before. But if you're a camera buff, you probably want to hear it again, right? Anyway, yeah, we should be able to zoom in on that. Now, I think you'll have to agree that generally the hardest place to get hardened paint out of a paintbrush is up where the bristles are mounted into the part of the brush itself. In other words, where we're looking right now. And there is absolutely no sign that I can see of hardened paint. And how big is that brush in relation to something that you know how big it is? Well, there's a finger. Now, I think this is the paint that I used months ago. Just touch it up a little bit here. Somehow it almost looks lighter. Hoping that the paint will sort of act almost like a, like a filler. No, also it broke off right there. I think once that dries and it turns flat, it should be okay. Now be careful, Ron. This completes this portion of step 46. And this step, or rather this portion, is going to go really fast. It's just two pieces here. At first glance, I thought that this piece here was higher than this piece, but I think it's an optical illusion. In other words, this part here that we put on, I didn't push it down far enough, but when I checked looking in from the side, it is all the way down as far as it'll go. Now we're going to do a dry run here. And it's a lot of space, a lot of play rather, so I don't need to worry about it not fitting. And it does appear to be down all the way around. Now I got rid of the manual because the white paper was throwing my exposure off here. And besides, we know where these pieces go. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I'm just going to go around the outside. This is CA medium. I don't think it's going to take a whole lot here. I don't want to have to be repainting the deck, which I might have to if I get too aggressive. Wow, that should be more than enough. Maybe just a little bit right here. Yeah, I can see that oozing out. I don't like that because it'll leave a, sort of a little shiny finish, but mind you, it's sort of semi-gloss, that deck anyway. I think that's going to be all right. Okay, let's do a dry run here. Seems to me I already have tried it. Oh yeah, it's going to fit all right. And these little bumps that you see on the front here, they I think they're to accommodate stairs or steps or gangway or whatever it was called. How come they won't go back on? Oh yeah, there we go. All right. Oh, I was just noticing this hole that I'm putting the CA on right now is a little bit smaller. It probably would have been impossible to get it to fit properly the other way. Oh, that's enough. Okay. That completes this section. Now this section here, there's only 9 pieces. And I think they're going to be, for the most part, I think they're going to be fairly easy. You know what? Maybe these smaller ones I should be leaving in here so I don't lose them. And these little pieces of Photo-etch, maybe we should put them on first. Now this one might be slightly out of focus, but I think you'll get the idea. Yeah. Then there are these 2 little screen things that I still think nobody knows what they are, because they don't make any sense at all on a battleship. Well, I guess they did on the Bismarck. You know, obviously they were something for something because they were there. But they, if you want to know what size these are in reality, I measured them and multiplied it by 200. And it works out to almost as big as a sheet of plywood, only not quite as wide. Now I'm wondering maybe for these I should be using the extra thin, because it's a bit of a tight fit. They don't really want to fit real good down into that little box that you see there. But I'm thinking if I use the extra thin, okay, you'll notice that this side is painted, but this side isn't. And it's the same on both of them. And my thinking is I'll have the 2 sides that are not painted together, and that way the plastic will glue together really well. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the extra thin. Might be easier almost to use my fingers. Well, we'll give it a try and see what happens here. With the extra thin, I do have more time than with the CA. The CA, it can all of a sudden set up on you, and there's nothing you can do, whereas with the extra thin, it gives you a little bit of time to sort of smear it around. Now let's move them apart just a little bit like this. If I can. Try and get some down in between the 2. Now, I might be getting my hands in your road here. Ooh, went down the front of the screen. That wasn't good. Well, I hope when that dries it doesn't have to be repainted. Now, in case you haven't figured it out, I've swung it around 180 degrees. Just rock them just a little bit forward. Maybe that's too much. This is the CA medium, by the way. I'm pretty sure I got it on the edge there. Now if I carefully move them back, and I'll swing it around, we'll check the front. Well, I might have to touch up a little bit with the brush, but I think it's going to be alright. Now, this time I'm going to do a dry run. Don't want to have a problem like before. Yeah, that's going to be alright. Now, I don't know what these are, probably some sort of storage locker. I think I'll take another grasp at it here. I'll be using the extra thin on this because I need the extra thin to dissolve the base of each one of those. Just making sure they fit. You know, if I wouldn't poke down on it afterwards, you know, I put it in place, and then I go and I try and push it down a little further, and it pops out. No, careful this time. It's almost like it's sticking to the rubber. No, it's not gonna pop out once I get the extra thin on there. Maybe if I use this end of the tweezers, it won't be so sticky. Yeah. That'll work. Okay, where's the extra thin here? Now, from your perspective, it may look like they're leaning forward, but I think I've got them perpendicular. Okay, let's let that dry out now. Now, here's something that's a little bit puzzling. If you notice the bottom of the searchlight base, it's kind of keyed. And you'll notice there's a flat spot on this piece right here. So in other words, for this to fit on there properly, it's facing in instead of out. And I thought they were, according to the manual, they're supposed to face out like this, which makes a lot more sense. So I'm just started wondering here, should I be using a, let's just make sure that I'm not mistaken. No, see, it fits down nice and flush when it's facing in. But I can't get it to fit facing out and go down. Well, it sort of does if you know, if it doesn't sit straight, but you have to think about this. Okay, I've taken my hobby knife here and I've sort of rounded the inside of that so it doesn't have the little flat side, and we'll just try it now. This is the first time I'm trying it. I don't know if it's going to work, but I think it should. And we know it'll go that way, but can we make it go this way? Yeah, I think we can now. You know, I should really be putting this around on the inside. Okay, let's let that evaporate out now. I've done the other one exactly the same way. Seems to be okay. We got all the pieces on for this section here of step 46. And the only thing really left to do is we have to paint these little pieces of Photo-etch yet. That's about it. But I've run out of time here today. We're going to have to do that first thing tomorrow. And we'll also check and see how this gun that I repaired here turned out. Yeah, in the meantime, thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you again tomorrow.